I think we're live now. Welcome everyone. My name is Zubaira Shamsuddin, and I would like to welcome you to today's panel webinar on behalf of the Uyghur Wellness Initiative. We will be waiting just a few minutes to give everyone time to log in before we begin. Just give a few minutes to audience to figure out the technical issues, I guess. Let's give just 1 minute and then we begin. Again, welcome everyone. My name is Zubaira Shamsuddin, and on behalf of the Uyghur Wellness Initiative, I would like to welcome you to join us today. The Uyghur Wellness Initiative is a collaborative community of partners working together to advance the cause of holistic well-being for individuals and families of the Uyghur diaspora community. Today, as a representative of Uyghur Human Rights Project, or UHRP, I stand along with my partners at Campaign for Uyghurs, Uyghur American Association, and the Peace Catalyst International to welcome you to a session that may have the ability to change your life. I am pleased to introduce you to Susan Whitman and Margaret Cohn, both professionals at the University of Vermont, who coordinate pro bono wellness coaching services on behalf of the Uyghur Wellness Initiative. Susan Whitman is a PAC that is both certified in lifestyle medicine as well as a board certified health and wellness coach. She teaches at the University of Vermont and at Duke Integrative Medicine in their health coaching and integrative health programs. In the fall of 2023, she began her PhD program in interprofessional health sciences with a focus on integrative health. We will also be joined today by Margaret Cohn, a longtime friend of the Uyghur community and also a nationally certified health and wellness coach. As part of her own onboarding training, Margaret offered complimentary coaching through the Uyghur Wellness Initiative, through which she was honored to work with several wonderful Uyghur clients. Margaret has worked with the ASHA Center for Integrative Health to deliver group health and wellness coaching to UVM and the UVM Medical Center employees, and was part of UVM Patrick Lee Honors College inaugural coaching program for college students. Last but not least, we are also joined today by Mustafa Aksu, a member of the Uyghur diaspora who has benefited from the wellness coaching program and who has prepared to join us today to share about his own experience of benefiting from these services. We hope that by inviting these guests to share their experiences, you can have the opportunity to benefit from the very same program as well. Now, let's start with some questions for Margaret and Susan. Susan, I'm wondering if you would be able to share with us a little bit, what is health coaching? When you receive a client, what are some ways that you might talk with them? Thank you. Please, floor is yours, Susie.
First off, thank you very much for having me here, Zubaira. It's really an honor to kind of share because health coaching is kind of a new profession, and a lot of people are still trying to figure out what is a health and wellness coach and why would I go to a health and wellness coach versus somebody else or my healthcare provider and all of these different ways. So a health coach isn't someone who's going to tell you what to do. They aren't someone who's going to give you a meal plan and say you need to exercise more and just give you all of these things that you should be doing. A health and wellness coach really is a partner in your own health and well being, someone who's going to walk alongside you as you try to make changes that you want to make in your own life. So, a lot of the times, people will tell us what we think we should be doing or what we need to be doing. But really, a health coach sits with you and says, what do you want right now? What do you want to make different in your life? What are the behavior changes that are impacting and causing your health to not be as good as you'd like it to be? A health coach really helps you then think about that really deeply and then set some goals for yourself and say, where would I like to be? A health coach usually works with someone over the course of 3 months. It's not like a one session and I figured everything out in my life. It's more of, I'm going to work with you and walk alongside you as you try to make changes. Because if anyone's ever tried to make a behavior change in your life, it's not something that you just snap your fingers and all of a sudden you're eating better and you have better relationships and you're taking better care of yourself. It's a process and it takes time. And a health coach is trained in helping people make those changes and sticking with them. Um, so they work usually with someone over a period of time, meeting with them maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks, to just really talk and hear their story and help them get from where they are to where they want to be. Oh, and you're muted right now, Zubaira.
Sorry, because I didn't want to kind of distract you talking, so I muted myself. So, can you just repeat again? What are some ways that you might talk with your clients? When clients come that look, I need help.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. We have the health coaching actually has become a national in the United States, a national recognized field, and there is a credential that people earn to become nationally board certified. And the process that nationally board certified health coaches go through really starts first with a self assessment. And we help people kind of look at their life through a holistic lens, all the different areas. A lot of times when people think of health and wellness, they think of, well, am I eating right and am I exercising? But there's so much more that goes into health and wellness. I do have a really quick slide that shows our wheel of health that we use. If someone wants to pull that up, we can look at that wheel because there are kind of 9 different areas that we start with when we're working with someone. And we might give them this wheel and say, how are you doing in all of these different areas? What does your movement look like for you? What are the foods that you're eating that are helping to nourish your body? What does your environment look like? Because that impacts your health and well-being. What are your relationships like? We look at personal development, spirituality, sleep and rest, your work-life balance, and kind of that connection between our mind and our body. Sometimes, we're all stressed in our mind, and that impacts our health. And how can we work on some of these things? And this isn't meant to be a diagnostic type of thing. We're not diagnosing or treating anyone, but we're just helping people create awareness of what are all the parts of their life that are impacting their health and wellness. So that's the first step is that self assessment with this wheel. The second step is that we help people create kind of a vision, if you use that word, or or kind of where do you want to be? This is where you are right now. Where would you like to be? And we help people create, think about that and just talk through where is it that they would like to be in their life. And from there, we take this big vision that you may have created for yourself and say, okay, that's all well and good, but how do we make that a reality? And where do we start? Sometimes it can be really overwhelming. You're like, wow, there's so many different things that could be different. Where do I start? And a health coach will help you figure out where to start with that and help you set maybe a first action step of what you would like to be doing. And then each week they check in on that, see how it's going. And there's no failures. There is no, if you said I was going to go to the exercise 3 times last week and I only made it once, we say, okay, fantastic. You made it once. And what got in the way from the other times? And what do we need to tweak and move around so that you can do what you'd like to be doing? So it's really a lot of almost problem solving in some ways, and also just hearing and listening to people's stories and trying to figure that out and work together to work on that. I don't know, Margaret, if you would have anything that you would want to add to that either.
Yeah, that's the next question that I was going to say, that, Margaret, what would you like to add to, what Suzanne explained so far? Yeah, I would love to. I mean, absolutely, audience would love to hear from you as well. Please, floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much. And I think it's wonderful that you're talking about this resource, because as Susan said, it's a new concept. So lots of people are learning about this. And I would just emphasize that the process of health coaching recognizes that we're each the expert in our own lives. So the coach's job is helping you understand where you can make changes and where you do have control in your life. So a lot of us feel like, oh, I don't have time to exercise. My life is too busy. So, but I want to. So the role of a coach may be, in that case, asking questions like, what does your day look like? And helping a client figure out, what can I do? What can I have control over? So an example might be, I eat lunch. Maybe I can take 10 minutes from my lunchtime to walk around the block. And pretty soon, 10 minutes, maybe you add 10 minutes after work. So in a place where you might feel, I don't have control, I don't have time to do exercise, you may be able to gain 20 minutes of walking every day. So a coach's job is to help raise that awareness of what we can control in our own lives, because there's so many things we may feel we cannot control. So questioning the client to say, what do you think about this? Where can you find this? What's important to you? So there's a lot of questioning and intensive listening. So I think Susan said all that, and I'm just sort of emphasizing those aspects.
Thank you. That's wonderful. And so, something so useful. Now, my next question. This question is for either of you. In your years of professional experience, what kinds of breakthrough or personal advances have you seen wellness coaching bring about for people?
I think a lot of what I've seen, I've been health coaching now for about 12 years, and I've worked in a lot of different settings with people. And a lot of what I have seen is shifts in people's ability to believe in themselves. A lot of it is a mindset shift in many ways. A key thing in health coaching is that we are your champion in many ways. We are your biggest supporter. And we also try to help figure out what are you already strong in? What do you already know about yourself? And we leverage that to help you make the changes that you want to make. And I think what's really interesting about health coaching is it's not, a cut and dry cookie cutter, one answer for everyone. It's going to be different for every single person that I work through. I think that it's the way that people view things. I had one person that where she really wanted to exercise more, but exercise was, I keep going back to exercise, but It's something we all, I think, probably struggle with, is getting enough exercise in our day. But she really wanted to exercise, but she hated to exercise. And when we looked at that whole wheel, she was also lacking in that area of personal fulfillment. And like in her career, she wasn't doing things that felt meaningful for her. And as we talked further, there was this revelation of wanting to give back to her community. And she started to volunteer at a camp for children on horseback. And so got her exercise by walking alongside the horse, holding on to the kids' hands. So it's that mindset shift of how do you define exercise in a way? But this way for her, she was able to get that personal fulfillment as well as get the exercise. There's other folks that I've worked with who would come in for, really wanting to lose weight, and all of the regular ways of going about like diet and exercise type of things weren't working for them. But what they realized is that it was the reason that they were staying up late and having a tub of ice cream before they went to bed because they were so stressed. And it wasn't that we needed to work on the diet, it was that we needed to work on the stress, and working together with other professionals and noticing, saying, okay, maybe there was something in my past that was impacting me and that I needed some extra support in. So sometimes a health coach works with other professionals as well. But it was also that if we work on the stress that's going on in their life, they were less likely to go towards the unhealthy foods that they needed. So it's those kind of different ways of thinking about their own health and wellness, I think, are some of my biggest things that I can think of.
That's a wonderful, all kind of resembles many people actually I came across and I have met and involved as well. Yeah, it is really something. It's what really useful. Margaret, would you like to say something about it, please? What was yours?
I guess rather than giving a specific example, I think one of the things that I love about health coaching and also gives me joy as a health coach is when people feel empowered to make a change and realize that they already have it within themselves and can make that change. So again, that example of I just don't feel like I have time to make myself dinner that's healthy, to go for a walk, is being able within your same lifestyle, the same life that you have, which is we can't do a whole lot about that, being able to make a change when we really thought there was no way. So the process of coaching with someone can bring people to that realization, like, oh, I don't have to move or change my job. I can actually do something within the life I have. So to me, that's about empowerment. And so I've seen that happen and appreciate it.
Yeah, that sounds great. Just kind of bring up what people already have their inside, just encouragement. I think that's a great thing. Especially, the people like us, our community kind of really depressed. Many of them are depressed, but they don't accept that depression and they don't accept that they need support. But definitely from professionals like yourself kind of telling us that, there are treatment, there are support, there are some way that we can get over. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And my understanding is that this kind of holistic wellness coaching can actually help regulate our mental health state and prevent us from having greater emotional and spiritual troubles, helping us to align our bodies and the minds in a way that can help prevent us from reaching burnout. Am I understanding this correctly? Is there anything that you would like to add that?
That is a fascinating topic. That idea of burnout is one that's prevalent in many cultures and societies all over the world. And I think burnout is often defined as um, someone who is losing kind of a sense of purpose of what they're doing, and just feeling, you feel tired all the time. You're not connected to the community anymore, and people tend to not notice some of these early signs of burnout in that way until they get to this point where you can't do anything anymore. And health coaching, one of the big parts of health coaching is putting it on to the client themselves, that we're not, a lot of healthcare is someone coming outside and telling you what to do and what's wrong and how to fix it. And a health coach isn't going to tell you how to fix it. They're going to let you figure out what's going on for yourself. So there is a lot of self awareness that comes with that ability to think about it for yourself and say, what's really affecting me. And that really, I think, gets to the heart of where burnout comes from. That ability to really connect in. So yeah, I believe that health coaching can really help people who are on that road, and those who may have gotten to a point where they say, I need to really take a step back from everything that's going on and just reinvigorate myself in many ways.
Margaret, would you like to add something?
Well, I think it's called health and wellness coaching. And when you saw the wheel of health, we're not just talking about physical health, that it's ingrained into the health and wellness coaching model, that health is about our mental and emotional health, as well as the physical body. So I certainly think that the process of health coaching can bring people to a place where their mental and emotional health is stronger.
Thank you. That's really, really useful. Now I'm interested in hearing from you, Mustafa. Thank you so much for being here today. Are you able to tell us about your own experience with the wellness coaching? What was the experience like for you? Mustafa,
Sure. Thank you for your questions, Zubairada, and thank you, Uyghur Wellness Initiative, for creating this platform, also inviting me to the panel. Um, I have a lot of things to say. I can't talk about hours and hours, but for the time being, I will keep it short. Um, so, I went through an incredibly tough period, facing continuous loss of family members, relatives, and friends, like last 4 or 5 years. And that period was not only about grappling with grief, but also confronting the deep impact it had on my mental and emotional well-being. And thankfully, Uyghur Wellness Initiative offered a wellness coaching program during that time, which I believe now they are still offering this great opportunity, which is a pro bono, that a lot of Uyghurs can talk and find the coaches through this platform. So yeah, I decided to turn to for support, and the decision to seek help was not easy. Given the cultural stigmas about mental wellness in many communities, including my Uyghur community as well. And yet it became a pivotal moment in my life. And the journey with my wellness coach extended over 6 months, more than that, I believe, a period during which I was met with unwavering support and empathy and understanding from my coach. Actually, she's here today, and I'm so excited to be on the same panel with her, my coach, Margaret. And by this chance, I want to thank you for your tremendous help when I was in loss and I was suffering. And thank you for your guidance, and also being a great partner and being a great accountability partner as well during that period. Um, yeah. So Margaret was not just a guide, but she was a partner, as I just mentioned, in my healing process, offering encouragement, and sometimes posing reflective questions that prompted deep introspection and helping me navigate my path towards recovery. So, and also this experience, this wellness coaching experience, transformed me in ways that I hadn't anticipated. So my work efficiency improved a lot, not because I was working harder. Of course, I work hard, but because I was working with a clear mind and lighter heart. And also, my eating habits, I remember very clearly. Like it, it took healthier turn. Yeah, and I started setting personal goals that gave me a sense of direction and purpose, such as where I want to be in the near future. So more than anything, my mental wellness saw a huge improvement, and the combined effect of wellness coaching and therapy sessions too, which I went through, opened my eyes to the importance of taking proactive step towards my mental wellness. And I'm sharing this story here virtually, and I hope to convey a message here that seeking help is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. And it is about making a choice to no longer suffer in silence, but to begin on a journey towards a healing and self discovery.
Thank you, Mustafa. That's really great. I mean, definitely, it takes confidence for us to just confront our challenges and problems sometimes, which is you one of the bravest community member. I'm really, really glad that you have done that. I mean, you just touched a little bit about it, but can you just specifically tell us what was your gains or benefits that you had during that, counseling or during that support? What was the specific gains and the benefit for you? So do you mind to share with us? So that way, we can encourage others to join in the, that kind of getting support as well, please.
Sure, I can be much more generic since it's personal. And yeah, the best gain was like I learned how to set up my own goal, and I learned how to engage because if you're not willing to engage in the conversation with your coach, it doesn't really make sense you pursue this path because you have to set up a goal and maybe and also learn through this. I learned how to find an accountability partner and how to keep track on my own activities. Yeah, sometimes some days, for example, uh, I couldn't achieve what I planned to, but at least I was like able to do some activities, whether at home or outside. And especially that during the pandemic, most of us stayed home, right? We all went through very challenging times. Despite that, yeah, the accountability partnership and also eating habits, like learning more about how to eat healthy, the diet, and also how to keep your mood in a better way. So these all are the gains that I learned through this program.
That's fantastic. Is there any challenges for you? Any challenges that during that period of time?
Of course, a lot of challenges. And it's easy to say, sometimes hard to do, right? You set up a goal, as I just mentioned, and then like you should be really consistent. Sometimes it could be challenging. Like one day you feel like, okay, I'm in a mood to do this according to my plan. Some days, you have ups and downs, right? Highs and lows. We're human beings. So that was a challenge. Some days I was very moody because because of our work in Uzbekistan, because we are dealing with human rights abuses and we are dealing with genocide, crimes against humanity, and we're also dealing with our own trauma, being separated from the family members, our loved ones. So it was challenging to cope with the strategy at the same time to deal with what our community, our diaspora members were suffering.
Absolutely. Thank you. My next question for you, what would you say to someone who's considering wellness coaching but isn't sure that they are ready to try it?
Hmm. Sure. So, I mean, for anyone on the fence about wellness coaching, I want to offer some encouragement. Yeah, it is natural to have reservations, like, whether it is about the time commitment, your energy, or wondering if it is the right solution for you. It might not work. It worked for me, it might not work for you, but it doesn't mean that you don't have to try. So especially in communities like our community where we discussing mental wellness or related topics is still a taboo, taking the step further can feel daunting. I totally understand why people sometimes have reservations about this. But my advice is give it a chance, right? The relationship between you and your coach is crucial, as I just mentioned in my a few minutes ago, and there's also your willingness to engage in the process and set meaningful goals. And in recent years, again, we have all faced unprecedented challenges that have tested our resilience and well-being during the pandemic, like under lockdown, especially for my fellow Uyghurs and friends. These times have been extremely challenging, and with many of us separated from our families and carrying the weight of collective and personal grief. Yeah, so wellness coaching can offer a space to process these experiences, to find ways to care for ourselves. We are important. Self-care is important, even when the circumstances make it seem impossible. So, what I would say that, yeah, we can consider wellness coaching as an investment in ourselves, right? It is an opportunity to learn how to navigate life's ups and downs with grace, to build resilience, and to discover coping strategies that work for us. And it is also important to remember that, acknowledging the need for help and taking steps to get it is a profound act of self-love, in my opinion. And so we are not only improving our life, but also we can set a positive example for those around us.
That's fantastic. Again, thank you for your bravery, Mustafa, leading in that kind of getting support. That's fantastic. Mustafa, are there any other things that you would like to add for our listeners?
Yeah. As I said,
Please.
I'm very passionate about talking about this topic. So like for hours and hours. But what I want to add here, my suggestion is like I want to leave the audience with a thought today that the journey towards wellness is deeply personal, but it can be universally relevant. And my experience with wellness coaching has been life improving, not because it solved all my problems. I still have a lot of problems, but because it equipped me with the tools to face my own problems. And it also taught me the value of self compassion and the strength in vulnerability and the importance of seeking support when it is needed. So, to anyone listening to us online today who might be struggling, feeling stuck, or simply curious about wellness coaching, I encourage you to explore it with an open heart and mind. The path to wellness is not linear at all. It is filled with highs and lows and successes and setbacks, as I mentioned. But every step is a step towards a healthier and more fulfilled you and us. So I think it's important to remember again that seeking wellness is not just about addressing your current struggles, but it is about building a foundation for your healthier future. And whether you are dealing with loss, stress, and the challenges of daily life, which every of us face every day, know that there's a support available. So wellness coaching can be a powerful ally in our journey, in your journey. So, and it offers guidance and accountability and fresh perspective. So I fully encourage my fellow Uyghurs or anyone in our diaspora members groups, contact Uyghur Wellness Initiative. And this is such a great program. It's a pro bono program. So yeah, as I said, self-love is also important. And as we are going through a difficult and challenging times, it is the year 2024. We are still facing a lot of challenges, right? Genocide, crimes against humanity, and so many problems. It is important to take care of our own health, our own wellness, mental health as well. So yeah, that's what I want to say through this platform today.
Fantastic, Mustafa. I mean, it is great result. I mean, what you have achieved is just fantastic with the assistance of great coach like Margaret and Susan. Margaret, Susan, do you have any comments on Mustafa's experiences? I mean, that's just to me, it's fantastic. It's great encouragement for listeners, audience, I believe, especially in the suppressive community. This is just a great. I mean, if you have any comments on Mustafa's expressions, please feel free to say something. Floor is yours. Thank you.
I will say that we couldn't say it better than Mustafa has said so eloquently. And, a pleasure to be able to share a journey with Mustafa. So I will just add, you don't have to have the answers to reach out. So the beauty of having this program is you don't have to figure it out before you reach out. Part of the process is figuring out where to go. What's the first step to take? So you don't have to fix things and be a certain way to start the process. So I think other than that, Mustafa's eloquence is just, I cannot add more to that.
I was honestly taking notes as you spoke, Mustafa, because you explained it so eloquently and so beautifully. This idea that you are creating this investment in yourself and that you have a partner as you navigate life's ups and downs, and that you're creating this toolkit for yourself as you move forward, and that accountability and a fresh perspective, all these beautiful ways that you describe that. And thank you so much for sharing your journey with all of us.
Thank you. Thanks all for your kind words. And thank you, Margaret.
Thank you all. Thank you very much, Mustafa, for sharing openly from your personal experiences. This is also an important part of building resiliency, as we have learned, isn't it? Having the wellness to share and be open with one another. So truly, thank you so much for leading by example in that way. Before we conclude, I would like to take a moment to answer any questions from the audiences. Let's see what audiences wants to know from us. Okay, here's one question. What are some things that wellness coaching cannot do?
It's a good question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I was going to say, oftentimes I do describe coaching, like at the very beginning when I was talking about that, by what it does not do. And one thing wellness coaching does not do is prescribe or treat or give education and advice to people. If through the conversations that you're having, you start to realize, wow, I need to learn more about my diabetes, or about I'm recognizing that all these things from my past are stopping me from being able to move forward. We're able to refer out to other people. We're able to say, wow, it sounds like you need more information about your diagnosis, and let's talk to your doctor, and being able to do that. But we do not give medical advice, treatment, and prescriptions and those types of things.
Anything else Margaret would like to add? Okay, all right. Then our next question. Okay, how does wellness coaching respond when our health struggles come from deep personal struggles or trauma? Any takers? Margaret, would you like to take it?
Yes, I'll start, and maybe Susan can speak to that again. It is different than counseling. We are not trained mental health counselors. We do recognize when that may come up, and we will make referrals for people. But there are things that come up in coaching that are personal, and of course, our past affects where we are now. So that is not to say that we can't work with people who have those kind of histories, which in this community, that's most people. So I would say we respond with compassion, with intensive listening, with understanding that we are all human and we are not looking for perfection. We're looking for a personal journey that gets someone towards a place or to the place where they want to be with health and wellness. So we're working with humans, and humans come with many kinds of backgrounds and current situations. So we work with people in no matter where they are. However, we will refer people if we feel that the trauma and struggle would be benefited by therapy and counseling.
Yeah, I think that you explained that really well, Margaret. And I might add this idea that in health coaching, in counseling, we're often going back to the past and trying to heal and really kind of process and heal from things that have happened in the past and that are currently there. A health coach really enters in with the person that's right in front of us and says, wow, you have had many struggles and many things that have brought you to who you are in this moment in time. And I accept you 100% as the person that you are right now. And whatever the history in the past is, whoever you are right now, I respect and I honor and want to help you figure out where you want to get to. So health coaching oftentimes is starting with the present and moving towards the future, whereas counseling is often starting with the present and looking towards the past to heal those. And sometimes it can be a beautiful synergistic relationship when you have both going on, that you're working on healing some of these things from the past and trying to move forward towards the future.
Thank you both. That's fantastic. The next question, I think you already touched on it a bit of, but since second part is maybe that needs to be re-emphasized, so I'll ask again. What is the difference between wellness coaching and the counseling? And second part is there a time when one is more appropriate than the other?
Yeah, I think we kind of just went over a little bit about that mostly. But when I'm talking with someone, there is a point when you're deep in a lot of things, of grief or trauma or these types of things, and the ability to think about the future is really hard in those moments. And in those moments when you're not able quite to see past this moment in time, that might be when counseling might be more appropriate. And there are times, even when we're in the midst of a lot of these things, that we're able to say, ooh, how can I do things just a little bit differently for tomorrow? And if we're in that state where we're able to think a little bit more towards the future and the forward thing, that health coaching might be appropriate. And if we're really in that moment, thinking and really kind of in all of that, counseling might be more appropriate in that respect. I don't know if Margaret, you'd add anything to that.
Margaret, do you have anything to add?
I was going to say no, but I guess I will say, since I took myself off of mute, I will say that within this community, I think counseling and could always be beneficial, and doing things together with health coaching and with counseling can be transformative.
Yeah, I think that's really kind of well answered, because I mean, even myself as a part of this community member, and in this work for so many decades. For me, I mean, I did have a counseling before. I think years ago. It was really useful. Definitely top of having. I think having both. I think is really useful for us, because we need both. That's kind of my experience. Maybe Mustafa can add to a bit of.
Yeah, I agree with you, Zubaira. I think both can happen at the same time, because us, like the Uyghur diaspora members, because we are dealing with a lot of difficult things. So, but yeah, if the problem, it's like if it's all about trauma and you didn't know how to deal with those, and you really need someone to talk to and guidance, I think counseling is a better program. But if at the same time, if you want to set up a goal, you want to recognize your strength, you want to recognize your weakness, and like you want to be better, and then health coaching is 100% recommended in my opinion. And I took advantage of both programs, so I was very lucky to have it. um, but yeah, my suggestion is like, yeah, if I mean, I have witnessed some of the problems that some of our community members were dealing with, and they came to me as well for advice. And so I highly encourage them and told them that maybe it's they can go through therapy if it's needed. But yeah, but if they just like, oh, I want to be better, maybe at my job, on my like, I want to change my health, like, eating habits or this and that. So I think wellness coach can guide you, be your partner there to encourage you. But of course, they are not telling you, oh, you have to do this, do that. But they are your partners. So this, I think, counseling and wellness coach sometimes intertwined with each other, but these two are different programs for sure.
Yeah, that's fantastic, because that reminds me of one of the program that I have came across before, years ago in Australia. The lawyers, especially the refugee immigration lawyers, they used to work with one of the service called survivors from trauma and torture. And when those lawyers take applications from, that was particularly focused on Uyghur refugees. And many refugees, they were just, they don't talk, the first they met lawyers, they don't talk at all about who they are, where they come from, all this experience, because they are so scared of questioning. Because soon the lawyers ask, oh, where you come from, what's your name? And what reminds them is just all that police questioning in East Turkestan. So they don't talk, they just block, their mind is blocked. They don't want to talk at all, let alone they just talk about the whole experience to put in the application. Not even just kind of very simple personal details as well. So then the lawyers refer them to that service. That service actually kind of a combination of both counseling and coaching. I think now I realize that's how it was. And then they talk with counselor, with them first. It takes months to let them be comfortable of talking about who they are. And then after that, those counselors write letters to immigration saying that, yeah, I have this person got treatment from us, we provided services, this is what it is. And then from that point of time, and the person start to speak. I think since we're talking about trauma, torture, and that's what it is, sometimes the genuine refugees who apply for asylum and definitely deserves to have that application approved, in reality they are unable to express themselves properly because of trauma and the torture. And to me, the service that we right now saying is so relevant, because we have so many such community members all over the places. I don't think every country has that kind of direct, perfect service, but there are now possibility. Wellness initiative, I believe it's one of them, which is we can begin to serve community in America, maybe everywhere in the world as well. Thank you. I think it's fantastic. Now, let me just have a look at again if we have any other questions. Yeah, okay. I think there is one question. Maybe this is going to be last. Why is behavior change so difficult? What is some advice for people who are looking to make a lifestyle change? This is going to be our last question because of the time constraints. Yeah, that's we answer this question and then we may stop. Please go ahead. Floor is yours.
That is an excellent question, and I think there is an entire library of books about behavior change and why it is difficult. And really, I think this is in our neurobiology. When you have a habit and you have a pattern and there's a way that you do things, I often think about behavior change as making a new path in the woods. Say there's a path that you're going down and this is the way that you do things. And then we try to make something new, and there's briars in the way, and there are branches, and there are trees, and there are other things. And it takes a while for us to make a new pathway in the woods. And all the time that we're walking this new pathway, there's this old pathway that we could just easily walk right down again. And so being able to make a change is fighting against, in many ways, the pathways in our brain that have created these things. There's a lot of different theories out there. You know, there's this cue and reward and habits, and how do you change, and you couple things. Like if you're going to start a new habit, you couple it with, if I'm going to, try to do a certain exercise, I couple it with something else that I do every day. So when I brush my teeth, I know someone who, whenever they brush their teeth, they do 5 squats. And, they're trying to get some exercise in, so they do it with something they already are doing. And bringing on support is one of the biggest things. Tell everyone that you're trying to make a change, and they're going to help you and support you in that. When you're saying, I don't want to eat this anymore, don't buy it. Don't put it in the house. And have someone there who will take it out of your hands when you're trying to go towards that, having support around you. And honestly, have a health coach. We're here to help and support. I think that's one of the biggest pieces that can be really helpful for lifestyle change.
Margaret, do you have anything to add?
I think, yes, thinking about that we're forming new habits and how long it might have taken you to create the habit that you have, that's one reason why making change is difficult, that we are trying to forge new habits. And accountability partner, I'd also say, think about what's most important to you. So people often think, well, I want to lose weight. Well, what's important about that to you? And say maybe it's because you want to be fit enough to walk around on your own and not have someone, have to help you, or not to have to use a cane, or to be able to play with your children if they want to kick the soccer ball around, that you're able to do that. So thinking about what is important about that to you. What is it about your values that makes that thing that you want to get to, that goal? So always coming back to what's important to you.
Margaret, that points so much to the values conflict that often shows up. You value the work that you do, and you value your family. And being able to have time for both of those that's why it's hard to change sometimes, because it's hard to identify, is something more important than something else? Yes and no, to be able to, we have a limited amount of time in our day to be able to do all the things that we want to be able to do. But taking a step back and saying, what is most important for me to be focusing on right now is so important.
Thank you so much for sharing, each of you. As our listeners can see, this is an excellent opportunity, and we are very privileged to have people like Suzanne and Margaret who are willing to share their skills with us free of charge. As I mentioned above, we know that one great way to help elevate the sense of stress in our mind is to take measures such as the ones that we have learned about today. We may even be able to prevent and mitigate some things like burnout or emotional breakdown by taking care of ourselves in a holistic way. I would like to encourage you, if you feel that you are in need of something to help energize your life, or even just in need of a greater social support network, please reach out to us and learn more about this wonderful program. Someone asked about the difference between wellness coaching and the counseling, and I would like to make note of another important resource. If you are in a state of deeper personal struggles in your family or your personal life, you can reach out to us with those concerns as well. In addition to free wellness coaching, the Uyghur Wellness Initiative offers access to a network of pro bono confidential counselors who are willing and ready to walk with you on your personal journey. If you feel that you would benefit from this kind of professional support, please visit our website. It's www.uyghurwellnessinitiative.com, or you can email us at uyghurwellnessinitiative@gmail.com. If you have ideas or suggestions about other programs that you might like to see taking place in our community, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and let us know. We consider you a partner, a collaborator, and a friend in this journey. We are thankful to have some time to meet you today, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. To our listeners, may you have a really good day. And to our panelists, thank you very much. Now, the program ends here. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.